Hello, everyone, and welcome to StoryTime. I'm Sandra Moore, a featured Asia Store author. For years, Asia Store at Asia Society has been a wonderful home to showcase the book I created with Japanese illustrator Kazumi Wilds. Now I'm excited to be partnering with the Asia Store on this children's video series, where I'll be reading from our book, The Peace Tree from Hiroshima, The Little Bonsai with a Big Story. In case you don't know, bonsai is the Japanese word for tree in a pot. Raising a bonsai is an ancient art form with deep roots in Japan, but is now practiced worldwide. A bonsai maker plants a small seedling or branch in a pot. Over many years, he or she trims it carefully and often, using a wire to hold its branches in a certain shape as it grows. Their goal is to create a miniature version of what the tree might look like in nature. A red maple tree as tall as your house might be just 2 feet high as a bonsai, with leaves so small a doll could rake them up. Before I begin reading, I want you to know that this book is based on a true story about a bonsai tree from Japan that is nearly 400 years old, older than America. The tree was alive in 1625 during the days of samurai and castles, and is still alive today, in the age of cell phones. It's seen so many changes in the world. It has also lived in 2 countries, Japan and the United States. I exchanged letters with the Yamaki family in Japan who gave their beloved bonsai to America as a gift. They helped me to learn about its history. But no one is alive today who really knows all about the tree's long life. So I thought to myself, what if I asked the bonsai tree to tell its own story? The peace tree from Hiroshima, the little bonsai with a big story. I was born nearly 400 years ago on the island of Miyajima. As I pushed through the dirt, I saw my reflection in the mountain lake. A forest of tall trees surrounded me: cedar, green willow, and hinoki. Macaques, momongas, and bats darted between their leaves and limbs. One morning, as the summer sun beat down, I saw a man. Alone with a basket strapped to his back, he spoke to the beautiful trees. Later I would learn his name, Itaro. I must bring back a souvenir of this island, of the trees that touched my heart, said Itaro. Then he did something that changed my life forever. He carefully dug around my roots, gently picked up my small pine branches, and wrapped me in a cloth, wet from a nearby stream. Soon I was his companion on the mountain trail, leaving the forest behind. Itaro's house seemed strangely quiet at first. I missed the gentle rain on my branches and the monkeys squawking high in the leaf canopy. But I grew to like my new home and the ceramic pot in which I was planted. For over 50 years, Itaro watered me and pruned my branches, shaping me like a sculptor into a miniature bonsai tree. You remind me of the magical island I visited, said Itaro, his hair now white with age. That's why I named you Miyajima. When Itaro died, his son Wajiro looked after me. And when Wajiro needed a cane to help him walk, he taught his son Songoro how to care for me. For 300 years, the job of caring for me was passed down from father to son. When our family moved to Hiroshima, it was Masaru who looked after me. He added more bonsai to our household. Beech, black pine, and blue juniper trees joined me on the porch. In 1945, something terrible happened. A war raged in Asia, and Hiroshima was hit by a bomb. It exploded 2 miles from my house. Many people were hurt or killed, and most buildings were reduced to rubble. Our family was fortunate. Though our windows were shattered, We were injured only a little by the flying glass. Masaru dropped to his knees and bowed as a sign of gratitude. I too felt like bowing, as my friend was unharmed. For several years, everyone in Hiroshima suffered terribly. But slowly, Masaru returned to his daily bonsai care, watering and pruning, wiring and shaping. And as we revived, his heavy heart became lighter. And slowly, people began to rebuild. In 10 years, our city had new streets, sidewalks, and spirit. Just miles from our porch, the Peace Memorial Park opened its gates. 20 years later, the classrooms were once again teeming with children, and the fields were full of cosmos flowers. Then, 30 years after the war, my life took the most surprising turn of all. A brilliant yellow sun rose over Hiroshima one morning as Masaru joined our tree family on the porch. America is having a special celebration for its 200th birthday. The Japanese people will send a collection of bonsai trees as a gift. I've thought long and hard about how I could part with any of my kodomodachi, my bonsai children. He closed his eyes and took in a long, slow breath. Miyajima, you have seen the sadness created by war between Japan and America. You have felt the hope that helped us to rebuild. You are stronger than ever and patient and wise. I hope you'll understand if I ask you, my favorite white pine, to become a tree of peace. When the truck arrived to take me to the airport in Tokyo, Masaru's grandson Akira shouted, "I'll miss you, Miyajima," and he waved goodbye. A few days later, I arrived in America. At the National Arboretum in Washington, I joined a new bonsai family. I heard the tour guide say, "This tree survived the war between our two countries and is now called the Peace Tree." I felt very proud. The next year, our arboretum had a special visitor. He arrived from the airport in a long black limousine. As he surveyed the bonsai collection, my heart stopped. It was Masaru. He looked old and frail. He was holding the hand of a young Japanese boy I recognized. It was his grandson, Akira. "Akira is in America for the first time to visit you, Miyajima," he said. "It's important for us to see that you're well cared for. You're a special tree, a sign of peace between our country and the United States." "You look happy here, Miyajima," said Akira, reaching out to touch the bark on my trunk. "Next spring," he said, "we will come again."
Hello, I'm Kazumi Wiles, the illustrator of the Peace Tree from Hiroshima. I loved coming to Washington, D.C. to meet the ancient peace tree. I look forward to the day when I can return, as Akira promises in the end of the story. いつかお会いしましょう. See you someday. Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. While we're all spending more time at home, I encourage you to follow Asia Store on Facebook and Instagram and visit asiastore.org to get to know more about their authors and browse the books online, including the Peace Tree from Hiroshima's story. Be sure to tag Asia Store on social media, #InThisTogether, to show we're more connected than ever.